Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your boy Tyler. Welcome to another episode of Draw and Talk, where we talk about indie comics and making comics. Today, we have two awesome guests on. They're both friends of mine. We have Justin Ori and we have Britton Summers.
What's going on?
And today's topic is we're going to be talking about what it's like to make your very first comic and how to do it. Justin and Britton, this is their first kind of big project that they're working on together. Justin did some art for me, which I still need to color. It's my bad. For a short story I wrote called Transcendence. But doing like a short story is one thing, but doing a full-on project is a whole nother thing, and that can get pretty tricky. So real quick, let's get introductions. Justin, you go first. Introduce yourself. Tell us what you're about, and then Britton, go for it.
All right, I'm Justin Ori. Live in northern suburbs of Chicago. Got into comics about 5-6 years ago. I mean, it was around the time, if everybody could see, that's the hand I draw with. So, that is actually what led me to comics, was when my hand got hurt from this circulatory disease that I have. And it led me down to a lot of reading, which ended up leading me to comics. And now I draw with that hand. So that's anybody who tells me, oh, I can't draw. I'm like, yeah, well, that's what I draw with. So don't tell me you can't do it. It's just a matter of wanting to do it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's amazing, by the way, that you are able to draw with that hand. Like,
yeah,
it's incredible.
It took a little bit of getting used to, and it definitely I was telling Britton the other night, I was trying to ink page 2, and I got almost all of it done by hand, started cramping up, and I think that's just because of the way my hand is, because I have to hold it a certain way. But it is what it is. You just learn how to deal with it and make it work.
Yeah, make sure you don't get what's that called? Tendinitis or
arthritis.
I don't know. There's some, I don't know. There's like some kind of
carpal tunnel. Is it
carpal tunnel? Yeah, make sure you don't get that, man.
You know what? I don't think anything's going to make it worse than what that is, So it's like, at that point, bring on the carpal tunnel if it means I can get a book finished,
Yeah, that's hilarious. All right, Britton, go for it. Tell us who you are and what you're about.
I'm Britton. I'm a writer. I have tried drawing. I can't do it. Or, well, another complicated thing, but let me just get to the point. I can write. I can do that a lot more quickly, and I can do it a lot better. So, I'm 17. This is my first comic project. I've on and off read comics since I was a kid. Really got into it once I was about in the middle school, high school, and now I'm just obsessed. So,
well, and so you said that you not being able to draw is some other thing. What stops you from drawing?
Oh man, I just try drawing, and then it's just like I'm like, oh man, I think I got this, and then I draw it, and I'm like, nope. So plus I think I write a lot better. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe I could draw if I like really tried. I'm just.
Do you think it's because it's like too much like work?
Yeah, maybe. I don't really like to say that because it just kind of makes me look bad. But
well, dude, trust me, it takes a lot of patience, and like I said, you have to really want to do it, because when I started doing it, you're doing it all fast, and it's like, oh, it looks like crap, and then you just realize that it really is just sitting there and being patient with yourself, and having to be able to just take your time in doing what you're doing, because not everybody's gonna draw like Jim Lee right away. Like, you watch his sketches on YouTube, and he's like, there's Thanos. It's like, what? How the hell does he do that? So, but that takes years and years and years of practice to get to that level.
No, yeah, it's super true, and I like what you said, Justin, is like, at first when you start drawing, you find like, you're like, oh, the quicker I am, that's all that matters. But then when you when you look at it, you're like, oh man, the quality on this. And then when you realize like when you realize the amount of work, sometimes they'll spend an hour just on like a leg, making sure that leg looks so good. I'm not at that point yet. I want to one Saturday, I want to, for a full 8 hours, spend on one page.
I was thinking about doing that same thing because there was
just to see if you could do it.
Yeah, well, I heard somebody else saying they spent like 10 hours drawing. I'm like, I want to do that and just spend like a full like day off just on one thing the entire day just to see what happens.
Exactly.
2 hours to write 2 pages of a script. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's all good.
Real quick, we got Scott Bruckner and here watching, and we also got Wes Nadell. Wes, I have a page for you to send tonight. I just got to fix one spelling mistake I put in the dialogue, but I have a page to send to you tonight, and I did it this morning. Send tonight. But yeah, real quick, Scott, put in the chat. Are you working on a comic book? I'd love to know more about it. But yeah, so yeah, with that art, yeah, Justin, that'd be so cool for us to. I mean, I don't think anyone would want to watch an 8-hour stream of just you and
No, I would
draw.
Yeah. I give it 20 minutes, I'd probably give up.
Yeah, but it would be really cool to try that out. I want it because I want to see, can I spend. I'll spend anywhere from like maybe 2 to 3 hours on a page, and after that, I'm just like, you know what? I think I've done what I can do at this point. So yeah. So guys, let's talk about how to make your first comic. You know, when I started making comics, I was doing it all traditionally. Get that pencil and paper. And that's what I want to do on another project. But right now I work digitally. And I didn't realize how much work it was going to be. I had this like 12 to 24 issue story called Almost Hero. And it was my first kind of attempt to write a comic book and to draw it myself and to ink it and color it and letter it. And by the time I got done with the first 24 pages, I realized just how much work it was going to be, how bad my art was, how much I don't know anything about writing comics and any of the other parts. And I decided, I was like, I cannot do this 24 issue story. That already took too much time. And I was like, I need to start working on getting better at something. And I decided to start working on my penciling and then my writing. But what's it like for you guys right now starting this project? Britton, how long is this project? How long is this project that you've written?
It's a 6-issue miniseries, which I think is probably the perfect debut number, by the way, to any other aspiring comic writer. But 6 is the lucky number, in my opinion.
What about 6 makes it the lucky number?
Really, it gives you time to kind of pan it out, and you don't have to worry about you don't always have to worry about making it ongoing. I mean, I'm actually working on my first ongoing series right now with a guy called Michael Medlin. I'm sure he'll love this. It's a lot of fun. It does try your patience, and it took me a long time to get here, but I'm really happy that I'm here now. So.
And so what have you learned from writing? Because I remember one time you messaged me and you said, you're having a hard time, sitting down and getting the ideas onto the paper. You said it was so easy to come up with the ideas. It's so hard to put them on paper. And I was like, well, that's the hard work. What have you learned since then? Oh man, I've
kind of learned to try and kind of regulate myself, because I'm a guy who's really spontaneous and comes up with just a crap load of ideas. Like I just had like a couple of them the other day that I thought, oh wow, this is an interesting idea. Then I forget about it because I'm working on something else. And you just got to learn. And I learned some wise advice from the great Jason Aaron. And he said, just regulate yourself. You could just find what you want to write that day and just keep doing it. And then you can always write something else the next day, as well as with the other work. I mean, if that makes sense. He said it a lot better than I can. No, yeah, because with some of those comic book writers, they're writing like look at Jeff Lemire. He had a season where he was like 9 books, Justin. Like,
dude, it's ridiculous. It's like I try to keep up on all his books, but like I finally get it in my pull count. I'm like, all right, I got them all, and they're like, oh yeah, you got like 4 more coming out next month. I'm like, what the fuck? Like he's like writing in his sleep.
That
You
guy
know,
is like a machine.
I mean, I read a lot about him because he's kind of like one of the reasons I got into it because I love that Twilight Zone-y kind of storytelling. And he says he used to be a line cook, you know, a chef in a line, and they had to learn how to, you know, like really, you know, make the most of the time that you got in front of you because it's go go go. So he says, I think he said he wakes up or he works from 8 to 5, and he separates that in between art and writing. And then even after he's done with that, he says when his kids go to sleep and he's watching TV, he still has a notepad with him and he's still writing stuff down. So he's constantly when he's awake, like always doing something. Which that's what I was doing before art. Is I always had a notepad with me when I was at work, and as soon as I had a thought, I'd write it down because it made sense. And that's the best way to do it because you'll forget otherwise.
Yeah, like when you're working on like multiple projects, these guys they have to figure out for example, I know one day he'll be like Jeff Lemire was like I'm gonna write X-Men, but if I write X-Men 3 days in a row, I'm gonna kill myself. So I'm gonna then go into Descender, or then I'm gonna go into Royal City. And that's what you got to do if you're writing multiple comics, and you got to flex different muscles. And so what you said, Britton, you know, write what you're into, you know, right now. I'm really grateful that I have a bunch of projects right now. If I don't want to work on Wes's project, I'll go to someone else's project, and I always have my own projects that I'm working on. But currently, I always love working on Wes's project.
It's always good to like separate it up and break things apart. It's like with TV shows. I mean, there's certain TV shows I love, but it's nice to like break it apart because then when you come back to it, you have a whole new kind of perspective on it. Especially when you're writing or you're doing art, because you can write to the point where you're just drained mentally. And you'll walk away for a couple of days, but when you come back, it's like you got all these fresh new ideas that all of a sudden just, you know, your brain needs that time to rest and just get off of the subject, no matter what it is you're doing, not just comics and any kind of art form.
No,
that's true. And let it reboot and sink in a little bit before you come back.
So Justin, now that now that you're kind of like in deep, doing this project with Britton, it's 6 issues, the magic number.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be around 120 pages worth of art.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. When he first pitched it to me, I was like, after I did the story with you, I was trying to find, you know, if anybody else out there had like a small story to tell, you know, that I could just, you know, do that too. And one guy messaged me, he's like, oh yeah, I got it. And then I'm talking to him, and it's like this epic sprawling thing, and I'm like, dude, no way in hell. I was like, there's no way. I was like, this is the first thing we're both doing. And it's like, that's the prime mistake right there, is trying to make this like grand Star Wars epic thing. It's like, dude, save that. Keep the idea, but save it. You know, like that shouldn't be your first project. Like if you can pull it off, fine. But I don't know if it's ever been done. I'm sure it has, but it's not common. So I was like, it needs a simpler story, or not simpler, but not as long, but something that's going to push me a little bit further. So yeah, going from 4 pages from Transcendence to 120 is a little bit of a leap, but yeah, it's you know, it's a challenge, but it's fun at the same time.
So what
it's been a little bit slow going, just because I had so much personal stuff going on recently, you know, my grandmother and everything.
Yeah.
But
it's something real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. By the way, again.
No, it's all good.
Quick, just my opinion that 6 is the magical number, but that's just my recommendation. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's got their own thing. I was telling Britton too, is like, if you know how many in your head you want to go with it, then do it. If you already have it planned out, because a lot of people want to go, oh yeah, I got this idea for this like 30-page issue. It's like, do you have anything written? It's like, no. So it's like, how do you know it's 30 issues? You know, it's like, start writing it and then finish it, and then tell me how many issues you have.
No, yeah, it's super true, you know, and I feel as you know, when I wrote my comic book Demons, originally the first arc was only going to be 12 issues, and I said just because I threw out the number, I was like 12, it's going to be 12. When I sat down and started writing it, I was like, this is just 4 issues. I can just do this in freaking 4 issues, and that's all that needs. That's all it needs to be a good story.
Yeah.
Real quick, let's get into the.
Well, I was going to piggyback off of what Britton was saying earlier when he was talking about drawing, is that nobody's your biggest critic than yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like days where I draw stuff and I'm just looking at it like, I
hate most of what I do, man.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to be hypersensitive and hypercritical of your own work as opposed to other people.
No, for sure. So let's get in the chat real quick. We got we have Larry Higgins. What's up, dude? Dude, Larry, I love Larry. He's in. I think he just started his his comic book channel again. He's separating the gaming and the comic books channels now. We got Scott Bruckner. He says, "Yes, I'm the creator of Sprite and the Icon. Sprite is a story of Benjamin Kane's journey from social selective junk bot maker into a superhero. I currently have a 34-page script done for the first 5 issues, and actually, me and Britton share a lot in common with our writing styles, where I all have 9 ideas and I have to take a monkey wrench and figure out how to make it work."
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was pretty funny.
I agree. And then we got Christopher Kronk here with a monkey and a wrench. So there we go. So Justin, what are you doing then to maybe not like, I'm trying to think of the word, not prep, but what are you doing to get it so that you can get those 120 pages done? Because that is a lot of work. What are you doing to get that, to make that happen?
I got the first script, and we've gone over it a couple of times. We made a little bit of changes to it, and obviously after last night's stream, we'll have to change the title. But
oh my god! Oh my god! It
happens, dude. I said that about music lyrics. I'm like, how many songs can you write before everything sounds similar? But it's it's a lot of it is just I've been trying to go through every pro book or channel or just learn as much as I can. And so right now, when he gave me the script, I think I got a couple more pages doing my sketchbook, but I've been thumbnailing the whole thing. So before I even start on the pages, I'll make sure I got at least 5 pages ahead in thumbnails before I start an actual page. Mm-hmm. And then it was just, it's a matter of trying to figure out how I wanted to ink it. Really, it's just, was I going to use markers or a brush, and have him. I can't say his name without screwing it up. How do you say the guy's last name? Palmiotti. But listen to him last night was good to hear. Using the brush, I love that technique. But again, with my hand, it makes it a little bit more difficult. So it's just about finding the right balance. And I thought for the story that Britton had, it might have been a little bit cooler looking to have the brush stroke for the ink, give it a little bit more of those wavier lines. Just because the kind of story that it goes in, the direction that it goes towards. Yeah, but it's really just looking at it, and a lot. I bring my sketchbook everywhere when I'm at work, and I'm lucky enough. Thank God, I don't think any of my bosses are watching. But it's at nighttime we're so dead because I work as an emergency responder. So a lot of times there's nothing that happens. Like Sunday night, I did 1 call before, and I sat on my butt for 7 hours drawing. So I was getting paid to draw at work just to sit around and do little stuff. So I do that most of the day because I'll get a scene and I'll break down each character and I'll try to draw it as clear as I can in my sketchbook. And then when I go to transfer it over to the actual page, it's a lot easier. It's almost like copying my own work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I like what you said when you make your first comic book. These are some things that that you should keep in mind. And I want to just recap everything that we've said real quick for people who are now just jumping on. But when you first want to make your comic book, you don't necessarily have a clear number, like that you say, if you say, oh, my book's going to be 30 issues, actually write it down, write a synopsis down, break it down, and then you'll realize, okay, maybe it just needs to be like 6 issues. Once you do that, make sure then you get the character descriptions, make sure that you as a writer understand the story, send it to your artist. And then as an artist, I like what you said, Justin, is that you thumbnail the pages before, because I've talked to some artists who are like, nah, thumbnailing, that takes too long. But I'm like, how don't you want to make sure the flow of the story and the art,
and you don't even have to be perfect in your thumbnails. Like you were talking last night with the stick figures, that's almost what they just really need to be. It gives you just a perspective when you're laying out each panel, so you can kind of see in your mind's eye that, okay, this is how this is going to look on this page, and this is how I'm going to draw it, as opposed to just going in naked. And then you get through halfway through a character and you're like, crap, I blocked out something that I was supposed to, I got to erase that and readjust. So it makes it a lot easier having that thumbnail layout.
It's true. So we got Scott Bruckner. He's asking a question. Speaking of, what is the plot of your story? Britton, do you want to go for it? Tell us the plot of your story.
All right. So how I pitched it to Justin, which is kind of funny because I really kind of scrambled to write it all in 3 days. But let me just make it simple. So it's about this guy who goes through a lot of stuff in his life, visits a therapist, all this good stuff. One day he gets hit by a car, and realizes after he's been released from the hospital that he can't think any more evil thoughts anymore. Like, if you don't know what that means, it pretty much means that he just can't.
No more hatred, no more negativity.
He can't feel any of that. Like, if he sees someone doing something wrong, he doesn't feel angry, or he doesn't want to hurt them. Now, the twist is, you might think, oh, this is awesome. What's he going to do? Well, it turns out that that negative energy has become its own sentient being, and he's running around, running amok, and causing chaos. So
it's almost like a yin and yang.
And at the end of the 6 issues, will there be resolution? Will it be an end, or will it have like some kind of?
Britton had the ending to me, and I think he ended up changing it to what I suggested it to him.
I actually was not sure how to end it, and he gave me an idea. And I'm like, that actually sounds like a good idea, so I just threw it in.
Yeah, and I don't want to. Yeah, we don't want to obviously.
Yeah, don't spoil it.
Yeah, I'm not.
But is it gonna end?
It could be open. It could. Let's put it this way. It's one of those where it could end there, or if we decided to, it could go on if we wanted it to. Mm-hmm. But it could be a final point, obviously, at that.
No, that's nice. That's a nice way to do it because it gives finality, but if the reception's good, you can always continue. I did that with my Demons, actually, my Kickstarter. The link's in the chat, everyone. For my Kickstarter, I'll put the link in there one more time, everyone. For my Kickstarter, that's what we did. That's what I did is I wrote the first arc. It was only 4 issues, and then I only had it planned to be 4 issues, but I also left it little like maybe something could happen. And then when the publisher at the time was like, "Hey, do you have any more stories you want to tell? This book's selling," I was like, "Yeah, we'll keep doing it." And we're now 15 issues later. I'm grateful that I left that kind of cliffhanger, that like definitive. But if he had been like, "Nah, it's over," I would have had a straight up comic book story. It was done, and I could have moved on to something else. So that's smart. Yeah, one thing I struggle with, and I've talked with you, Justin, about it, and I've talked with a bunch of creators on the show, is that whenever I talk with an indie person and I hear that their comic is a ongoing, whenever they say that word ongoing, I'm like, guys, you realize how expensive that is? Do you realize how hard that is? Someone who came on the show, I don't want to say who it was, but they just released their first comic. It was funded on Kickstarter, but just reading some of their Facebook statuses, I can tell they're kind of like, man, like, do I want to do this again? That was a lot of work.
I don't think it's feasible to do like an ongoing, like a Walking Dead type of thing unless you work for one of the big companies. Like that's the only time that you could probably get away with doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about costing yourself like probably $1 million if you were going to do an ongoing for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, or if you're just if you're a writer artist and a combo, and you have and you just dedicated yourself to this series for the rest of your life, and maybe you can put up like a page a week on like a web comic, maybe then, but.
You have to have the fan base, and like you like I said, if you got enough people behind it, then by all means, dude, go for it. But that ain't gonna be easy in the indie market.
Yeah, and that's playing the long game as well.
Yeah,
that's playing the long game. If you're gonna go the webcomic route, and I know I read. And also,
I think everybody wants to be on one of those epic long series that go forever. It's almost like job security,
I remember that day.
But it's everyone can do that, but you got to put in the work to get to that point.
Yeah, like I'm sure Tom King. I'm sure when DC was like, "Hey, Tom King, we're gonna give you 100 issues of Batman," he's probably like, "Oh, I'm gonna be writing this book. I'm gonna be writing this book for a while."
Yeah,
that's job security.
He probably was just like, "Oh my god, I'm doing this. What am I gonna do?"
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he probably had a bunch of ideas because don't they have to pitch them?
They have to pitch them.
Yeah, they pitch the ideas before they decide. But anyway, he already had Sheriff of Babylon, and he had a bunch of other works from.
He also had The Vision.
Yeah, so I mean, he wasn't just like some guy who had like one title, and they're like, "Here, let's give you Batman,"
Wait, no, Miracle started after his Batman started. So.
Yeah, that's about the end too. Mr. Miracle.
Oh yeah. They just turned in. I think he just tweeted that he turned in the final art today.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't end how I thought 11 was going to make it end.
And also with like your first project, I don't think it's smart to do an ongoing, because after your first project you realize that you've got a lot of learning to go. I don't care how good you think you are. You know, your first comic is not going to be very good, and it shouldn't be. And if it is, go away. But like, I don't know, like I read,
not going to be Alan Moore the first time.
yeah, exactly. You're not going to be Alan Moore the first time. And I think that's the big problem, is that a lot of people look up to these big dudes and they think, you know, wow, I'm going to create an epic like this, when you're not. I mean, going back to that person, I just read their comic book today and I was kind of like, we're gonna do an ongoing.
Any of the big artists or any of the big writers, and you go back in their history and look up the very first thing they ever did. A lot of times, it's not very good. It's just like the art might be good, story might suck. You know, it might be one of the two, and you see, and that's why I think I like Jeff Lemire so much, because when I started reading, I was getting into him. So I got his first work, Lost Dogs, which if you're looking at the art compared to now, you're like a 5-year-old drew Lost Dogs. You know, and he even says how hard it is for him to even look back at those pages now. But that first work is, I think I told you one time, Tyler, that it's almost like the foundation of a house. You need that first work to lay the base, so then you can realize what I need to build upon that to make it better.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I have a graphic novel I did in my bedroom, and I just look at that and I was like, what if I could go back? I've always thought about like redrawing it, just because like I really liked the story, but I didn't write the story very well. I didn't do the art very well. I did the best of my ability then. Yeah. And I think that's all that matters, is that you do the best of your ability at the present time, and then you learn from that and you grow and you build that foundation, like you said, Justin.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, my art is, I'm still new to drawing, and like I know I got a long ways to go before where I'll feel really confident in it, you know. So it takes me a little bit to do it, you know, when I'm drawing, you know, pages or just characters, but it's putting in the time, the work, and like I said, you have to get that first one out there, and you shouldn't try to make it perfect. You know, just do it, let it flow out of you. You know, like especially as an artist, it's like you just let the art like bleed out of you onto the page. No, it doesn't have to be crisp or anything, but yeah, get it down so that you can go to your next work and go, so you have that first one to look back at when you make your next project to be, okay, this is where I need to improve.
So Britton, as a writer, and you know what the crazy thing is, that we're all writers. I know that we're all writers. I know Justin and I took up art because we wanted to make comics.
Yeah, I'm too broke to like pay an artist all the time. So it's like, yeah, I was writing for like 2 years before I was, because I think I told you when I started watching your channel, you had like 20 subs, and I was like flipping through it on YouTube. I was literally typing in scripting for comics. And it was like one of your first 2 videos was like how to make a page summary. I'm like, oh, this channel looks cool, you know? I started watching it more and more, and you're like, yeah, I taught myself to draw. I'm like, son of a bitch, I guess I got to do that, because it's going to be impossible to find somebody for cheap.
That video is my highest watched video. It keeps getting it keeps getting like 50 to 60 views each week. It's in the thousands. I saw it
one day, but yeah, it's helpful because not a lot of people have a channel where you break down an actual how to script. It was even hard to find that just Googling it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to find books for like, because I didn't know at the time if there was like a standard format for how to write a script, like how to even do it, to put like, I didn't know anything, you know. So I was buying all these books and like trying to learn it, but none of them really had a full thing. What helped me was actually going to the Script Archive website.
Yeah.
Writers. Yeah, so I was doing that. I'm like, oh my God, they all have different styles. And then I'm learning, okay, there's no right or wrong way as long as it's conveyed clearly to the artist.
Yeah, you know, that's actually why I started the channel. I was so pissed off that I spent all that freaking money on these how-to books. when you realize that each person has their own take, there's no... and actually that Script Archive, when I was going through them, I was like, oh my gosh, there is not a standard format. No. Really what people need to know is just, it doesn't matter what your script looks like, but it needs to have these things in them for the artist. I thought it was
so interesting. I think the first time I saw a script laid out, because right when I first started reading comics, one of the big series I got into besides Walking Dead was Y: The Last Man.
Oh
And
man,
in the back of that, there's a script page from Brian K. Vaughan to Pia Guerrera, and like I was reading it, like he's like the way he was typing it was literally like a conversation. He's like, "Okay, Pia, this is what we're gonna do on this page." I'm like, "This is how they write it?" I was like, I was expecting it to be like Shakespearean or something, But I was like, this is just like two people chatting to each other.
Yeah, I actually try to write like that. I know with Travis, who did Demons. Whenever I'd write for him, I would just be like, "All right, Travis, you got this page." I know, and it would just be like 5 panels of them fighting.
I try not to be like a dictator because I mean, no, I don't think any artist likes an asshole writer who just goes like, you did this.
So it all depends.
I just give.
No one likes anybody who's a dick, but it's if you got a message that you want portrayed, get it on the page. For the script, let the artist deal with it after you got it down.
Let me finish. Well, I like giving the artist a little more freedom to draw, and if it does picture what I see, then I'm like, yeah, this will work. And I like Justin's more idiosyncratic style, and that's I thought it was kind of an interesting look for the book. It would kind of distinguish itself.
One thing though, also to like remember though with that is sometimes, hey Iris, hey Iris, thanks for watching. One thing to also remember though is that as you want to get free, but if you have a specific scene in mind, and if you don't convey that to your artist, and the artist draws it through their mind because they have that freedom, and then you tell them that it doesn't look like it, that's not how I pictured it, but you didn't put that in your script, that can get so heated so fast. The moment anytime that I've ever worked with a writer and the word redraw is sent to me, like I lose my crap. Especially if it's free work. If I was like, hey, I'll do this artwork for you for a favor, and then they're like, hey, I'm not liking this. Can you redraw it? And I'm like you.
See, I wouldn't do that to Brittany.
You
Oklahoma Sooners fan. So if he pisses me off, I'll just write every character with a Texas Longhorn shirt.
Yeah, I remember that. I thought that.
But I actually drew. Our character's gonna have an OU shirt. I was telling him I was gonna surprise you with something.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So when you guys are done making this book, I guess, all right, well, maybe let's break it down. Once you're done with the first issue, what is the next step? Are you guys going to then like work on this? Are you going to be putting it out issue by issue, or are you going to wait till the whole book is done before you start putting it out and advertising it? What's the plan?
Britton, you take that one, because that's what I was asking you how you wanted to do it.
Tell us right here.
Yeah, well, you're on the spot, bro.
Justin, we haven't really discussed it, but I did mention maybe we should pitch it to people. If that doesn't work, maybe we can try something else. I don't know exactly just yet. I am already working on issue 2. I did finish issue 1, and yeah. So that's all.
Yeah, I just got the pencil and issue page 4 right now today. We're starting that. So I was hoping by Halloween, but realistically, with everything that was going on, I'm probably shooting for like mid-November.
Mm-hmm. Have you thought about releasing it in like a trade paperback?
Once it's completed, I would like that, but
skip the issue, like skip doing the floppies and just go straight to book.
Oh, well, I mean, maybe. I don't actually know about that, but whichever way's cool, as long as it gets out there,
Mm-hmm. Because
I bring it to my comic store and be like, here, you guys don't have to pay me, just get people to read it.
Yeah. Because like the nice thing about with the floppies, you have to release, like, if you have 6, that means you're gonna have to release 6 floppies. Whereas, because one thing I think indie comics need to do is they need to release more trade paperbacks, because if you release a floppy, most indie creators won't give you the next issue for like a couple months and then by that time you're going to be like, I don't want I give up. Whereas if you have it in a book format, if you stay patient and get 6 issues done, do it under the radar, and that's the hardest part, is doing it under the radar. Then you can be like, hey, I have a fully fledged book, and check this out. And then they get the full story, because sometimes I get a floppy. Someone will give me like, hey, here's the #1 book, and I'll buy it for $3 and I'll read the first issue and go, yeah, I'm not gonna continue. But if it had been like the full 5 chapters, I could be like, okay, chapter 1 wasn't very good. Maybe the second chapter is better, and it gets better, and then I already have it in my hands.
Yeah, I think it'd be less costly too for anybody creating a book to do it in a trade paperback as opposed to floppies, because you're paying less for printing, because you're going to be printing a cover for each floppy. So that's extra printing right there, which maybe is not a lot, but I mean it's a little bit more. And God forbid something happens halfway through the story and they stop it, then you're just kind of like, oh, and like you can't finish anything. So it's like it'd be nice to have the whole book right there in front of you.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of OCD a little bit, so I mean, I'm kind of all like, maybe we should get issue 1 out first. But I do see what you guys are saying, so I mean,
well, I think with ours,
when we're gonna get it done. So
yeah, we got to discuss this how to do it. But I mean, to me, it almost, I don't know. Like I said, we got to go over it, but it'd probably be a good idea, especially since it's our first project, just to start getting it out there. Even if it's just like outline, like that Webtoons thing that you have, Tyler, for the hardline, something like that. Just getting it out there so people can actually read it and see what work we've done.
Sorry.
And plus, it'll save us money if we're doing it digitally too. And then if it gets whatever, we could always print a book for ourselves or for however many we want for whatever. We don't have to go out and print 100 books. Yeah. Plus, my sister's gonna draw the cover for it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, his sister. He's all like, "Oh yeah, my sister's gonna draw the cover." I'm like, "Oh what?" And he's like,
"She's an actually talented artist who's been doing it for a while." So yeah, she's. I was talking to her last night about it.
I'm like, cool. Thanks, man. He's all like, "Yeah, no problem, bro." Oh, now I remember what I was gonna say. Alter's actually a book that I'm decently proud of, and yeah, I still have my problems with it where I'm like, I should have done this, but I actually do enjoy it, and my big hope is that other people really like it too.
No, and you're and they should, like, you should love every project that you've done and see it for what it's worth, because hopefully by your second project you'll be like, oh, man, I really love my first one, but it wasn't as good as this one. I love every project that I've worked on, but
I mean, we put work into it. I mean, it's not easy doing this stuff.
It's not.
Oh yeah, it really tries on my patience. It's just like, man, no. Love you though, Justin.
Justin's putting in all like the weightlifting with all that art as well.
I choose to do that though, because the better I get at drawing someone else's story, when I actually get to the point where I'm doing my own, which I'm kind of working on right now, but I want to get Britain's done first. So that's where all my focus is right now. But it's like, I know by the time I finish this, my art's going to be far superior than when it was when it started. So anybody that does read it when it comes out, I apologize if my art progressively gets better throughout the series.
Yeah, your art, I've told you this before, it reminds me of Jeff Lemire's, because it's very idiosyncratic, and it's not something you see every day. And I'm all like...
Yeah, it's kind of like draw like a baby.
But it's funny, Justin, is like, that's so funny, because I said the same thing. I was like, before I freaking draw my own projects, I'm gonna draw someone else's project. And I did a 7-issue story with this guy Bobby, who's freaking awesome. And to this day, I still apologize so much, saying, "Hey man, I'm so sorry that I just did not." Like, the quality of that book is just nowhere where it probably should have been.
That's what I told Britton when we started. I'm like, dude, this is the first thing I'm really doing. I was like, I drew a little thing for Tyler, so I was like, I'm doing it for free, so I'll give it the best that I can do. That's why I'm not charging, because I feel weird to charge anybody right now. Until I can look at something I drew and go, wow, I drew that.
And then
yeah.
And
When I
then
get to
follow
that
my
point,
pattern, man.
I'm just like, I don't know.
Like
And
my
then follow
sister-
my pattern, Justin. Once you get better, then start drawing comics for people for money, then take their money and then give that money to another artist who will draw your book.
Your book. It's a good idea. Just keep it flowing.
Yeah, that's how I find everyone's like, Tyler, how'd you do 15 issues of Demons without like ever hitting your bank account? I was like, cause I worked on this project for like I can look at the projects I worked with writers and go, this book funded my book. And this book funded my book. And you just keep that flow going until it gets to a point where you're like, you know what? I'll still do work for other people's projects. And then maybe then use your own art to do yourself. I just think, I just felt like also that was a good way to like, it's a good ecosystem, you know.
Well, you're basically paying for itself, so you're not costing yourself money to do what you want to do.
Exactly. You know, the dream of every writer is to not have to draw their own story.
Well, I guess it depends. I mean, if you're a really good artist, I'm sure Jeff Lemire, like again, we keep bringing him up as a creator, but
or Sean Gordon Murphy.
There you go, Sean Gordon Murphy. That's somebody who can draw and write on their own. You know, they don't need to. You know, when they get to that point, I'm sure they want it done exactly how they see it. You know,
and also at that point, that's just a business move because he gets paid for all the art, the pencils, the inks, and then he gets paid for the writing.
Yeah, I'm so happy to see he's continuing the White Knight.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah, they're coming out with it. He's going to continue the story.
No, for sure.
I may disagree with the man's politics, but the dude wrote a good story. So
that's all that matters.
Really
the whole Thomas Kate thing is so stupid with the whole politic thing. It's like, dude, it's like we all just want stories. I don't care.
No. But no, Murphy did it a lot better in my opinion.
He's subtle. It's subtle. It's not in your face and
preaching.
Yeah, it wasn't like all these. It wasn't like all these SJWs. The thing with him was he presented both points.
Yeah.
And that's how a good comic should be.
That's how you have to do it because both sides have points in this whole argument.
And
people get in their foxholes and they just want to hurl insults all day long. And it's like, come on, guys.
What I liked about the series as well is that, you know, it was pitched as Joker as the hero, Batman as the villain. But in the story, that's not the case because, I mean, Batman's in a dark place and the Joker is sane again. But the Joker's still really crafty. And he's a very good manipulator. Rather, if you want to root for Jack Napier or not, he is very skilled at getting people into doing what he wants because he's done it for so long.
Yeah.
And Batman, I mean, he may be the villain. I don't like saying that because I don't think he's a villain. He's like Ben Affleck's Batman, just written a whole lot better. And he's not slaughtering people.
Yeah. All right, let's get I want to get in the chat real quick. This from Scott Bruckner. Could Justin show off some of his art in case people want to hire him?
Yeah, give me a second. I gotta grab some.
All right, so while he grabs his art, I'm going to answer another question. It's from Christopher Kronk. Has anyone tried putting a book up on Comixology app? Just wondering. Yes, I had 10 issues up of my Demons comic on Comixology when it was with Insane Comics, and they did all the work there, and the publishing quality was great. They do the whole panel to panel work really well. The only thing that kind of sucked about it being on Comixology was they take around 50% of the profit. So if your book is $1, they're going to take 50 cents of that. And then after that, my publisher then took like another 30%, and then I was left with the remaining. So it's if you do it yourself, don't expect to make a living off of Comixology. Maybe you will. Maybe it's possible if you slay it. But Comixology takes a huge.
I'm sorry, Tyler.
Let's go for it.
I said I was just joking. I just said they treat their creators poorly.
No, yeah, they do take a lot of money off of the indie creators, but it's a super easy submission process. You can even just send them a ready to go PDF, and they'll put it up there. All right, Justin, you ready to show some art?
Yeah, I'll show you a couple. This was something I was doing for one of my stories before.
All right, I'm gonna lock onto your webcam.
All right, cool. Yeah, before
right.
I lost that, see if I can get it up here so you guys can see it. I'm trying to see. Can you see
No,
that?
that's good. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, this was one of the stories I was starting to create, but then I got to this panel and realized how like stupid I made the light tower look. But that's one thing. I can actually.
Oh, isn't that that story you were talking about that you pitched to me? And I'm like, wow, that sounds like
Yeah, that's the one. That's another part of it.
Oh wow.
Let's see.
Is this like a short story? Is it an ongoing?
Intentionally, it's supposed to probably be only about 2 issues, maybe 3.
Nice.
I haven't written it out. I just got the layout. But here, I actually got pages of Transcendence right here. Let's see. Here's that library one. I hit all the names in.
Oh yeah.
Try to get a little closer to the camera.
Are you planning on publishing that story soon? I saw some art for it. I'm like, what the hell is this? So.
I got one colored thing I'll share. I think I've shared this with you before, but I drew this a couple months ago. Daredevil Bulls.
I'll do that. Sick. What did you use to ink? Are those Copics or what is that? The watercolors.
The colors are just the watercolor. I think it's just like a basic thing I got from Hobby Lobby. It was oil-based watercolors, and then I got a couple Copics like for inking and a couple multi-liners. But I'm really trying to get better with the brush and ink. So I got a couple bottles of ink, and I got like a plethora of brushes that I use. But it all just depends on the feel of the story, really.
Yeah.
I think we're all done with markers. All the things I just showed you there were all markers.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna be. Well, I just need to finish coloring those last 2 pages. Once I get some free time, I'm gonna do that, and then the lettering's already kind of done with them all. And then we'll just put that out to people. But it's been 43 minutes. Everyone, thanks for watching. Let's end this. We're gonna end this right now. But we're gonna end. I'm gonna do a little closing thing. But I'm gonna let you guys kind of like end it. But everyone, thanks for watching. Check out the Kickstarter for Demons. We were 150% funded as of today. If we can get to $1,700, I will make a Kickstarter exclusive cover for this run.
If he gets the 5,000, I'll tattoo demons on my ass. Dude, if it goes to 5,000 now, I'm gonna. Oh God.
So I guess so to end this, we'll go with Britton first and Justin. Britton, what have you learned the most from writing your very first comic?
It's a lot of work. And it takes a lot of time, and you're just kind of sitting there. It does sometimes drive you crazy, but you know what? Once it gets out there and we're done, and it's probably going to be like a crap load of months from now, I'm going to be like, yeah, I did that. I'm proud of it.
No, yeah, for sure. That's the sucky thing about comics is that it takes. I was listening to a video with Sean Phillips, and he's just like, the thing I hate about comics is that they take so long to make.
Yeah.
They take so long to make. Each issue takes around a month or 2
I
to
also
make.
learned about when I was really early into my comics career, or what is my comics career. I haven't done much, but it's here's my advice to aspiring comic writers, even though I have no voice of authority because I am one of those aspiring comic writers. Don't go walking in there saying, oh, let's make a comic, because I did that, and I learned the hard way. Yeah, that don't fly.
Oh, did you hey, I've got a really good idea. Let's do. And then in those forums,
I fell out over money, and then I lost interest in the story, and I don't think I'm ever going back to it, which is something that really hurt me for a while. So,
live and learn
a little bit.
You live and learn. And then Justin, what is the thing? What have you learned the most in starting to write and draw comics?
How friggin' awesome it is. But it's it's already covered. Everybody knows it's hard work, so I don't want to go through all the same talking points on that. But yeah, it's fun, and it's a labor of love. It's like you love doing it, so it's almost there are days like you've talked about in your past videos about how some days you have the fire to do it, and some days you don't. But that's just life. That's with anything. Some days are just like with weather. It could be shitty, rainy outside, and you're just like, well, I don't want to do anything. It's just it comes and goes, but and it's fun, and collaborating with somebody like with collaborating with Britton or with yourself on Transcendence. It's fun to do that and correspond with people. And like you were talking about before about like sending somebody to redraw, like sending it back to you to, oh yeah, I need you to redraw this. That's why you can ask Britton. I mean, almost every panel, I'm like, this is how you want it. I've like gone back and forth with him just to make sure everything is exactly how it is. And if I see something different, I've always gone to him. How do you think about this? And I've always said too, it's your story. You're the writer. So if you don't want it that way, just tell me. I'm not going to be offended. That's the other thing is you don't be afraid to like offend, not offend somebody, but to say what you want.
To voice your concerns.
Yeah. I mean, if you want it done a certain way, get that out, and not just, I'm not saying that to you, Brett. I'm just anybody listening. It's like if they're first time doing it, just don't be afraid to be like, this is how I want this to look. Because it's your story. It's your baby. The artist is drawing it for you to bring it to life. So it's your vision.
Boom. Yeah. Communication is the freaking key. Yeah. Go for it, Britton.
Oh, I was just can I plug in my YouTube channel real quick? I run this really crappy YouTube channel where I review comics and stuff.
Yeah, what is it? I'll put the link on the chat.
It's called Samoki Dude.
Okay.
And yeah, I just talk about stuff. I plan on talking about writing one of these days, but maybe I'll have Justin on and we'll discuss Alter or Good Michael or whatever we're gonna call it, because now we're in a crisis where we have to get another title.
It won't be hard. We'll probably come up with it by the end of the day.
Yeah, I know. I'm making a big deal out of it. I know it'll be fine. I'm sure we'll find something.
All right, let me put Britton's channel.
Sorry.
It's just like real quick. Who does that? Was it funny? I love it whenever I watch a YouTuber and they have Logan or they have the Paul brother. They have Logan Paul and they're like, "Don't bring up your merch," and then he's just like, "Okay." Like what? Like Maverick. They're just dang it, go away. So that's hilarious. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button and smash that like button. And let me know in the comments what you guys thought about this video. This is, it's awesome to talk with Justin and Ori, Justin and Britton, who are working on their very first comic. This isn't going to be the last time that we have them on. It will be really cool to see their progression. And heck, maybe one of these days, Justin and I will take up that 8-hour freaking drawing challenge where we try that out for a day. So yeah, everyone, and also check out the Kickstarter. We're 150% funded as of today. If we can get to 170% funded, I will draw a complete new cover for Demons Volume 1. So everyone, thanks so much for watching, and peace out.